Here's what you should know about your local housing market in this week's market update. We've got an interesting week this week. Yesterday was Yom Kippur, so it feels like Monday, but it's actually Friday. But that holiday in the middle of the week did not seem to affect the housing market much. So this week we're looking at stats for Morristown, Chatham, Madison, Harding, Mars Plains, Mendham, Chester, Bernardsville, Basking Ridge, and Randolph. This past week we saw 46 homes come on the market in these towns. That's a 59% increase over the prior week. We saw Morristown and Township with the greatest number of homes coming on the market, with 14, significantly greater than every other town. Out of these towns that new homes on the market, 34 of these were single family houses and 12 of them were condos or townhouses. So we saw a much greater share of these new listings this week being condos or townhouses. If you're in the market for a condo or townhouse, that's good news for you. However, generally a majority of the buyers out there are looking for single family houses. So for those people, not as good of news. Average list price this past week was $1,217,000. That's a 2% increase over the prior week. Total inventory. We have 235 homes actively on the market in these towns. That is even from last week, just one home more from where we were at this point last week. However, the breakdown, we have a much greater number of homes on the market in Morristown and Township over all the other towns we're looking at. We actually have 49 homes actively on the market in Morristown and Township. That's substantially greater than second place being Mendham with 33 homes on the market, and then drastically dipping from that with the other towns. Total homes sold. This past week, we saw 28 homes sell. That's a 15% decrease over the prior week. The average list price of homes sold this past week was $1,253,000. The average sale price was $1,301,000. So this past week, homes sold for an average of 2.8% above list price. Madison had the highest average sale price at $2,860,000. And then we looked at the breakdown of the individual towns. We actually, in Morristown, saw homes sell for 1.5% below list price this past week. And then in Chester, we saw homes sell for 2.7% below list price this past week. Other than that, every single other town, homes sold above list price, anywhere from 1.2% above list price all the way up to 15% above list price in Madison. So the market is interesting. While we are seeing some homes sit on the market for a little bit longer, some price reductions, some negotiability, I am actually seeing on the front lines quite a bit of crazy bidding wars. The number of offers still are on the lower end, but the prices and the frenzy is pretty substantial. So if you're in the market to buy right now, do be cautious. Not everything is going quickly and for over list price. Don't just jump right at it, but do be prepared to get into a pretty hefty bidding war. I do see them still happening. Not every house, but they're still happening. So be ready to get a little competitive here. Under contract, we saw 35 homes go under contract this past week. That's a 20% decrease over the prior week. Not terribly surprising because we saw such a low number of homes come on the market this past week, and with homes still selling fairly quickly. If you see a small number of homes come on the market one week, you're likely to see a small number of homes go under contract the following week. Average list price of the homes that went under contract this past week was $955,000, and the median days on market was 26 days on market. That's only a 1% decrease over the prior week, so we're not seeing much change in days on market, and that's evenly split amongst towns. But keep in mind, a lot of these towns, actually most of the towns we're looking at, days on market are somewhere between 9 and 17 days on market. So other than our two outliers of Mars Plains and Mendham that saw 66 and 58 days on market, we take those out of the mix and we're really looking at, homes that are selling within 2 weeks of being on the market. So once again, we've got some interesting things shaking out with interest rates, seasonality, whatnot. So keep checking in with me. I'll check in with you guys again next week, and I hope you have a great weekend.